What they're giving me with this one is like the image of a countdown timer. And it doesn't feel like a ticking time bomb type of thing. It looks more like, like a countdown to vacation, countdown to wedding, to graduation. Like it's a good thing, but I kind of want to know what that's about and like what we've got going on here. Okay, we've got the Hanged Man, the Queen of Cups, the Five of Swords, Ten of Cups, Ace of Cups, and the Fool. So this does feel like you're approaching a new start of sorts. Especially with that like Ace of Cups and the Fool. And I think that like you on some level have like sensed this, especially with that like Queen of Cups over the Ace of Cups. It's kind of like you're emotionally tapped in and like you know what's coming for you, you know kind of what you need in order to feel fulfilled. But I think like there have been some blocks with this Five of Swords here. And I am kind of getting maybe some element of betrayal or conflict that potentially like left you in this like hanged man position where you were feeling kind of strung out a little bit as far as, being left without the kind of like support that you needed. Especially with that like hanged man coming over that Ten of Cups here. It was kind of like I think maybe you came really close to having what it is that you wanted, but then feeling like someone else's choices or someone else's betrayal like took that away. And I think that there's this sense of whatever it is that you want, like still being accessible, but almost like in a different way, like from a different approach, especially, moving from the Ten of Cups to the Ace of Cups to the Fool. It's kind of like you're now in this position of like this Ace of Cups, like feeling almost the energy of it. So I kind of want some more information about like what it is that we're even like looking at or talking about here or anticipating. We got Strength, the Four of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, the Empress, and the Wheel of Fortune. This feels like a couple of things. I mean, I feel like part of this is feeling like things like slow down enough for you to feel like you can really take a breath. I think especially like maybe in some kind of like specific situation where things have felt like kind of tense for a while. And I think that you've been trying really hard to like hold on to your peace, but there's this feeling of like when will luck turn in my favor? Like when will I be able to receive instead of feeling like I'm giving, instead of feeling like I'm kind of turned upside down. Um, what does Spirit want you to know about this situation? Eight of Swords. Ooh. The Knight of Swords. The Four of Pentacles. The Page of Swords. And the Chariot. You are moving forward. I mean, like, first and foremost, you are moving forward. I think that, like, right now, a lot of what's going on in the energy is about kind of like creating a foundation of like mental stability on all ends. Because I think whether this is like a relationship situation or a like work situation or family dynamic, there is this sense of kind of needing to recover. And I'm getting needing to recover after like something was kind of like removed or shifted, which, maybe I guess confirmation here that this reading is for you, that you underwent some kind of like betrayal, some kind of loss, and that caused a shift. I think in moving away from whatever that thing was that caused that, and now there's this sense of like okay, what next? And I think like right now it's almost like spirit is specifically putting a little bit of a hold on your ability to take action in some of the ways that you normally would. And they're like, like let's focus internally, we're going to help you kind of like rebalance, find your footing again, but like in a sense, like that is the energy moving forward. Like that is the work that needs to be done. You're not doing anything wrong, I think, by almost like by sitting still when they tell you to sit still, by resting when they tell you to rest. Like that's part of the integration process too. That's part of like allowing what you consciously know to permeate all levels of your being, and allowing that to be something that drives you, and allowing that to impact not just your mind but like also your heart. Even if you're someone who like has that like kind of start as like a mental thing, like that's your intuitive sense or your guiding force. It's like it still has to integrate. um but right now, like you're moving forward, and I think that you're moving forward with this chariot as like the heart in the driver's seat. It's like I was saying, like kind of allowing this to move from your mind with like those two, actually three swords cards we got there, and allowing that to move into your heart space, and I think like really open you up to this openness and this receptiveness to receiving. So what is it that we're opening ourselves to receiving? The King of Pentacles. So I think this is one of two things. This is either like a specific person who you would like to show up as, a stable person in your life. Whether or not like you've met them, it can be like, I just really want a stable friend or partner, someone who is very dependable and grounded. Or it can be like really wanting to embody this within yourself and really feeling like you haven't been able to kind of have the kind of stability and groundedness within yourself that you want. But I think like that's really what it's about. And I think that's also why they're asking you to stop and to take this time to really, really fully integrate what you learn. That's the word that keeps coming back with this reading, is integration, is like making it whole, making it one, like making sure that your mind and your heart and your spirit are all on the same page, because that way when you move forward, it's all of you moving forward at once. It's not your mind moving this way and then this way and then this way. It's not, your heart feeling pulled this way but forced this way. It's clarity, it's unity, it's oneness that I think is going to allow you a much greater sense of like both confidence in the direction that you're taking and like speed and ease in the way that you take that path. So anything else about, I want to know, like, how do you know, like, what's the next step? How do we know when to take it, as we're moving through this process of rest, integration? I get the sense that you're not someone who wants to like sit in complacent energy. Like you want to be receptive, but you don't want to be complacent. You don't want to be stagnant. So, what are we going to look for to know when the next move is right, and what is that going to look like? We have the High Priestess, the Knight of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles. I mean, like with the High Priestess there's a little bit of like, when you know, which is not particularly helpful in the context of trying to explain how you know when you know. But I think that's what the other cards here are for. With this Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Nine of Wands, I'm almost getting like, when you start seeing like some of the other things in your life that you've been waiting on that you've been holding out for start to come together, and you start to see the ways that like your efforts are positively reflected in the results there. I think like that's kind of when things are going to kick into place as far as like your sense of self-empowerment and your belief in yourself. Because like I'm being drawn to like with this high priestess and this knight of pentacles. Like at this knight of pentacles we see this girl figure who is has this like pentacle on the ground that like she's created, and she's like looking over, like she's casting a spell, manifesting something. And then with the high priestess we see her backed by this pentacle, as she has like this book of esoteric knowledge and the candle and whatnot. And it almost feels like a level up, going from this kind of like diligently putting in the work and waiting to knowing that the work was worth it, to having that trust in your intuitive sense that the things that you've waited on, they are real. The things that you have hoped for, the things that you have had faith about are real. And that doesn't mean that like, oh, you have to wait for every dream that you've ever had to come true, and then that's when you'll know that you can take action on the rest of it. It's more like there are, I think, some specific scenarios related to things that you have been hoping and praying for outside of this initial situation. One card on what that might be. Page of Pentacles. I think that this either has to do with like your career or like housing situation. With all these Pentacle cards, it's like something that has to do with like money or physical surroundings. I think that like when those things, or that specific thing that you've kind of been like waiting on manifesting, um, you feel like that is solidified, that is real, and you are able to bolster the confidence that you have in your intuitive knowing based on that. That's when like the rest of this is going to kind of, I think, snap into motion, and that wheel of fortune starts turning. Is there anything else that this collective needs to know? The Six of Cups, Page of Wands, Page of Cups, the Sun. This is almost giving like a little bit of like inner child something, like reconnecting with your inner child being something that is important here, with that Six of Cups being all about like nostalgia and past memories, and then like two page cards. It's like I think that there may be something that like your inner child is trying to tell you, as far as almost like how you define success with the Sun there, and like what it is that you really want, that you're reaching for. Like what does it feel like, what does it look like to hold success in your hands? Like what is that victory? Because I think that a lot of times, our inner child kind of holds the wisdom that the world, that society, that family, whatever other influences are out there have taught us to reject. They told us that like, oh, that dream isn't good enough, or oh, like that perspective is wrong, or oh, you should want this, or oh, you should do it this way. But it's almost like this advice of like, think back to before you had anyone tell you that what you wanted was wrong, before you had anyone constantly like tearing you down or backstabbing you or whatever it was, when you had like the most optimistic and faith-based perspective on you, yourself, your path, when it felt like you could literally reach for the stars there. And in what moments did you feel like there was that like abundance raining down on you? In what moments did you feel lucky, successful, whatever? Because there's something in that I think is a key to reconnecting with certain parts of your emotional intuitive self, kind of like how we went from that like Ten of Cups to the Ace of Cups. It's kind of like there's a final piece that's kind of coming to you from this very humble and, like I said, like almost like inner child part of you that I think you were trained to silence, that really wants you to almost like believe them when they tell you what they want, and like tell you what it means like for them and for you, because like that's a part of you to feel happy and to feel abundant and to feel safe. And I think like that's going to be a big thing. And again, it may take some time to like integrate the messages. It may take some time to figure out what you want from all this, and that's okay. That's okay. Like, you don't have to rush yourself. You don't have to force anything. But I think like make space for the quieter voices, make space for the gentler parts of you, make space for the things that, you know, maybe other people told you were wrong or childish or silly to want, because I think that there's something within that that is going to be the key to a lot of happiness and a lot of growth and a lot of wonderful things. So I hope that this is helpful to you, and best of luck in your endeavors. It seems like at this point it's only a matter of time, so I don't think you have much to worry about.